Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Kassandra and thank you for joining me in this new Coffee Chats vlog. So I have not done a Coffee Chats video in a long time and I feel like I have quite a few life updates to share with you guys, so I figured I would film this now. So Coffee Chats, life update, what have I been up to? Well, let's start with the obvious. I am now a redhead. I gave myself a bit of a makeover at the beginning of the year, dyed my hair, got hair extensions for the first time in my life. They're hand-tied wefts, like sewn-in extensions, so that's been really fun. It's a fun little, I don't know, I haven't had a makeover in a really long time, and I felt like I needed to do something to shed the previous year. So maybe this is where I want to kind of begin the video. 2021 versus 2022. So last year, like probably many of you watching, it was a horrible year for me. It was probably one of the worst years I've had in a very long time. It felt like constant state of anxiety and overwhelm and just this like general feeling of hopelessness. I really was not feeling like myself, and I kind of kept doing everything I needed to do. It's not like it was a debilitating depression by any means, but it was like, I don't know, it was like this low grade feeling, persistent feeling of just not feeling like myself and just feeling really overwhelmed with my life, overwhelmed with the world, like overwhelmed in all the different ways. And I still kept working. I still kept doing the things that I needed to do. I really did try my best to take care of myself, to continue therapy, to practice yoga regularly, to meditate, to journal, to go outside every day, to, do all the things that you're supposed to do when your mental health is struggling. But it's like, I don't know, sometimes those tools will only take you so far, and I really feel like I had to go through it, and now I'm on the other side, thankfully. So 2022 so far has been way better than the previous year. I feel much more like myself again. I feel much more hopeful, and just yeah, I just feel better overall, and I've made quite a few changes in my life as well to try to find myself and find my balance again. So in 2021, I still kept working, my channel still grew a lot, like I did a lot of fun stuff. And there were great moments in that year, and there were certainly many moments where I felt very fulfilled and very happy. The primary things that come to mind for me in 2021, like fostering brought me a lot of joy. That's why I had originally gone back to fostering cats, was like I felt like I needed to do something or to focus my energy on something or someone else to find purpose there, in a way that wasn't tied to work. So that wasn't tied to yoga, wasn't tied to being online in any kind of way. So for the first 6 months really of 2021, I was fostering cats and kittens, and that was so fun. And that was like something I really held on to keep me sane, and I don't know, to just give me like a little bit of direction and purpose, because I felt very aimless. And then I stopped fostering. I'm sure I'll do it again in the future, but I am taking a break from fostering because it's really emotionally very difficult. I have had questions on that. And people will often say comments like, "Oh, I could never foster because it's too hard to give them up. How do you do it?" And it's like, I'm not cold-hearted, it is really hard. It does take a toll on me. And I find that for me, like when I foster kittens and their moms, I find it easier to let go of the kittens and to have them be adopted out into their forever homes, because I don't know, kittens adapt so easily, right, to new environments and new people. But I would get really attached to the moms, like to the adult cats I would foster. Those were heartbreaking, because it's like when you get those adult cats, they're, strays, or maybe they're from colonies, or maybe they've been surrendered by their previous owners. A lot of them come in and they're very shy, they're very scared. And it's like I had to work so much harder to gain their trust. And not only did I gain their trust, but we also developed a bond. I got really attached to them. And then they got adopted, which of course was always the end goal. And of course, it's what we want and what we hope for. But it does still hurt. It is really hard. So I did 6 months of fostering, and then I was like, okay, that's enough. And I haven't resumed, but I probably will. I don't know. I don't know when. I don't want to put a timeline on myself, but I'm still interested in it. But that was like a big thing that kind of, I don't know, kept me going in 2021. And then the other thing that really helped me kind of keep my sanity last year was horses. I started horseback riding and just being around horses a lot more. And as I'll explain later in the video, that has totally taken over my life. But that was another really great point. So basically, it feels like animals were my one saving grace last year that really helped me feel connected and made me feel like myself and gave me something to look forward to and I don't know, appreciate, I guess, on a daily basis. But otherwise, it just felt like a really stressful year. Now, I think what's really hard about going through a hard time is that you can't really always put your finger on why you're struggling until you're out of it and further removed from it. So while I was struggling in 2021, I didn't really know why I felt this way. I just thought it was because of the pandemic and just, the world. And it felt like a really dark time. And I just figured there were tensions in some of my relationships. So I just figured that's why I was feeling kind of bad. But now that I'm on the other side of it and a little bit further removed, and I'm in a much better place emotionally and mentally, looking back now, I really think that I was burning out. Like, I think I went through a bit of a burnout of just working too much. And this brings me into 2022. I have not been working that much. I have really slowed things way, way, way down. So before I get into that, I'll share last year, I've been working on this huge project, and it's one of the things that was like, it was exciting, but also draining. I have a new book coming out. So all of last year, I spent it writing a brand new book that will be coming out June 7th in 2022. It's called Year of Yoga. And this is such a passion project, something that I worked so hard on. And it includes seasonal, daily, and lunar yoga practices. So meant to follow you throughout the year. And I wanted to create a book that was more than just a book with yoga practices in it. Because I am primarily an online yoga teacher, I wanted the book to have some kind of online component to it. So what we did is that inside the book, there are 4 meditation sequences and 22 yoga practices that are illustrated and written out in the book. Each of those also has an accompanying online yoga class and online meditation. So I don't have the copy of the book just yet. I should be getting them at my house in a few weeks. It's being printed right now. So I don't have one to show you, but when I do receive it, I'm going to open it up and do a little YouTube shorts and, show you inside the book. But basically how it's going to be is that each yoga sequence in the book is going to have a QR code, which you can scan with your phone, and it will take you to the online yoga class or the online meditation. There's also going to be a web page with all of those classes in there, so you can have everything just listed in one place. So that's super exciting. And I mean, this is my second book. I published my first book, Yin Yoga, maybe like 6 years ago or something, and it was not the best process. I'm very, very, very proud of that book. Yin Yoga is a wonderful book. Like, the finished product is excellent, but the process of writing that book was not good for reasons I probably legally can't get into, but I really did not enjoy that process very much. So when I was done writing that book, I swore to myself, I'm never doing this again. Like, I did it. It was an item on the bucket list. I'm a published author. I never want to do it again. And since writing Yin Yoga, I've had quite a few publishers reach out to me and ask me to write a new book. And I have turned down every single one without hesitation. Like, no, 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 not interested. And when these publishers, Inside Editions, contacted me, the publisher, she's like a fan of Yoga with Kassandra, and she had this idea, Year of Yoga, for the book that she pitched to me. And I thought it was a really great idea, but I turned her down because, again, I just was not interested in getting in that kind of partnership again because I had found it so challenging the first time. But she persisted, and she kept asking me and asking me and asking me and, trying to negotiate and see how we can make it work. And finally, she kind of wore me down, but mainly she reassured me of the concerns that I had, reassured me that I would have full creative control over this book, which was a big thing it was the main thing really that was holding me back from saying yes. And finally, I agreed because they also have some other products that they do in that company that I wanted to do, but I can't mention those yet. But basically, I signed like a multi-product deal where I will be releasing a book, but then we're also going to be releasing a few other items throughout the next few years. So in 2021, I was like hard at work creating all of this, writing the book, filming the yoga classes, editing everything, doing the work for the other projects that will be out next year. And it's ready now. It's available for pre-order. So I'll put the link down below in the description box. And those of you who are pre-purchasing a copy of the book before it becomes available, you'll get exclusive access to a live full moon yoga class with me. So that's really fun. You can just submit your proof of purchase and you'll get emailed the link to the live class, which will be later on in June of 2022, on the day of the full moon. So that will be really fun. So, 2021, I was still busy. And I've been so busy for so long that I didn't really even notice it anymore. Like, I had no idea I was going through a bit of a burnout, but now in 2022, like once I finished the book and that was done, the other projects were pretty much done, I really was able to look back and go, oof, I have been going really hard. I've been going really fast, doing a lot for the past almost 8 years now. And like, I'm running out of steam, I'm running out of steam, running out of fuel. And I just felt really, really depleted. There's this thing that happens. It's like, I don't know, 12 years ago or something, 13 years ago, I discovered yoga and it totally changed my life and it became my life. It took over every cell of my being. It was like all I could think about. It was like I was eating, living, breathing yoga, and I threw myself into it. I signed up for teacher training. I started teaching. I immediately started my YouTube channel. I started to, offer all these programs and products and services. And it was so authentic and it was so natural because, I don't know, I was like lit up on fire by it, so it didn't, even though I knew logically that I was working a lot and that I was working hard, but it didn't necessarily feel like it that much because, I don't know, I just had like all this passion to keep me going. And now it's not that the passion isn't there anymore. It's just that I literally cannot sustain that pace anymore. Like in April of 2022, that will be 8 years of me being on YouTube. And like, I have to slow down. Like I have to slow down. I was focusing so much of my life on Yoga with Kassandra that now, after doing that for 7 or 8 years, I'm now able to take a step back and look at it and say, okay, that piece of the life puzzle is doing well. I did it. I climbed that mountain. I built Yoga with Kassandra. We're at almost like 2 million subscribers on YouTube. Like, that's insane. I have like 2 books, like I did all these really cool, great, amazing things, and they demanded 90% of my mental and emotional energy. I had to fully devote myself to it in order to build it to what it is now. I have no regrets about that. But now I'm like, okay, what now? What next? Because there are other sides of me and other pieces of me that also deserve to be nurtured and also deserve to be looked at. And I really think, like, for me, when I think of burnout, I don't necessarily think of it as, I was working 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. Like, that wasn't really my kind of burnout. My burnout felt mostly like I was focusing so much of my energy on only one part of my life, like my career, basically, that the rest was neglected, and it kind of sucked the joy out of my being, coupled with the fact that 2021 globally was a really difficult year for most people. It was hard to exist in 2021. So I think all of that combined kind of created this perfect storm where I just felt like I've hit a wall, something's got to give. I need more joy in my life. So 2022 has been wonderful so far. I mentioned how for the last 6 months of last year, I started horseback riding and all of that. And that's something I did when I was little, a little bit. Like, I mainly did ballet, so it's not like I couldn't do everything, but a few times a year I would go on trail rides, or I went to horse camp a few times. And it's like I always had such a deep desire to have my own horse, to work with horses, to be around them, to have it be a part of my life, to be an equestrian. And that always felt so impossible because it's crazy expensive, and I lived in the city, like there was nothing around me. But now that we live in the country and I started taking lessons, I started to allow myself to have a different dream for my life. For so long, like when I dreamt about my life, I was really just focusing on yoga with Kassandra. Like, that was priority. That was the most important thing to me. And it's not that I don't care anymore. Like, it's still super important, but I need to nurture something else. And you guys might know, every year I do a year-end review and life visioning exercise. And I write down all the goals, all the things I want to accomplish. And I separate it by the 5 areas of life as designated by Danielle Laporte in the Desire Map. And usually, like, one of those categories is called livelihood and lifestyle. And that has to do with like your career, your work, your home, finances, the practical, tangible stuff. Normally, I've been doing this for almost 10 years now. Normally that category is like full. At the start of the year, I'm so motivated. There are so many things I want to accomplish when I think of livelihood and lifestyle and like career, finances, all that kind of stuff. And this year, when I did it in 2022, I couldn't think of anything to put in that category. And that was such a strange moment, because I keep those records every year and I look back on them, and I really compared it to my goals of the previous years. And I really saw how, this year there's just a huge shift for me where I don't feel as motivated to work as much. I'm really being called in a new direction. Like, the other categories in my life visioning exercises were full. The ones that have to do with creativity and learning, that have to do with health and wellness, that have to do with relationships and society, like that's where my emphasis is this year. Which I just want to say doesn't mean that I'm leaving yoga with Kassandra or anything like that. Like, I'm still going to be doing a yoga class every week. I still care. I still want to do this. It's just that I need to find a balance. It can't be my whole life. It needs to just be a part of my life, a part of my personality. You know what I mean? Hopefully that makes sense. So because I started horseback riding last year and now I live in the country, I'm at the most amazing barn. Like, it's just the nicest people at that school. It's like a family-owned barn. I got like close to them. I really trust them. Like, they've been so welcoming and so nice of me. And I think any like equestrian out there can know that not everyone is always nice in this world. There can be like a lot of cliques and mean girls, but anyway, there's none of that where I am. And with their support and with their blessing and with their help, a lot of help, I started the process of looking for my own horse. And I bought Java. I did a little YouTube shorts with him. I bought him 6 weeks ago. So we started looking, I started like horse shopping, I think in November of 2021, and it took it took a few months. Like, I went and I looked through hundreds of ads, and my coach helped me throughout this whole process. She went out with me. Like, if I would see an ad of a horse that I thought was a good fit for me and my experience level and, what I wanted to do, I would send it to her and she would give me her feedback. And if it was a good fit, then we would go and try that horse to, meet it in person and see what it was like. So I tried, with her help, I went out and tried 5 different horses that were not a right fit. And Java was horse number 6 that I tried, and like immediately knew, this is my heart horse. This is my forever horse. Like, yes, like I really want to bring him home. And I did it. I went through with it, and it's been like the best thing that's ever happened to me. It's the best. So I have had my sweet boy Java for about 6 weeks now. I think like as of filming this, tomorrow will be the 6-week mark that he's been here with me. Now, he doesn't live here at my house. He's boarded at the school where I ride, and that barn, it's only a few minutes away from my house. So I am pretty much able to go see him every day. Yeah, owning a horse is a lot of work. So I'm very, very, very thankful that I can have him boarded, which means that other people, the staff there and the volunteers there take care of like feeding him, and turning him in, turning him out every day and all of that kind of stuff. And then that means I can just worry about going every day just to do grooming or some lessons or whatever it is. Yeah, 6 weeks. And I have to say, I think is exactly what I needed. One, because it's like this childhood dream of mine that I never thought I'd be able to have. Like, it feels so surreal to be finally actually living this life. Like, I don't know, it just seemed like such an unattainable goal, and it's really amazing that I was able to achieve it and that I have it. And I really, really like having something in my life that I'm so passionate about that isn't tied to my career and my income. And like, I don't know if that makes sense, but it feels really good to have this huge passion that has no link at all with my online presence. It's not at all tied to Yoga with Kassandra. There's, it doesn't earn me any money. In fact, it's super expensive to own a horse and all of that. But it's like, that is really what I needed. I needed to have something that was just for me and that had no other purpose other than bringing me joy. That's it. It's not because it's a career. It's not because it's a source of income or anything like that. It's not because it's an act of service that I'm doing for someone else. It's something that is like purely selfish because I love it and because it brings me joy, and it's like reignited this fire and this passion within me, which just feels so, so, so good. That's been really, that's been, I think, the main thing that has really changed things for me compared to last year, is that I now have something else to nurture in my life that isn't online and that isn't like in the public eye and that isn't, I don't know, tied to my work, and that's exciting. And I think the other thing that was happening with me is that part of the reason why I was so passionate in the beginning about Yoga with Kassandra, it's because it was a huge challenge. It was like this crazy impossible dream. And I love that. Like, I love a good challenge, and I love completely immersing myself in a new skill set and learning. Like, I really love to learn. Um, and it's not like I'm not learning anymore when it comes to yoga with Kassandra, but I'm definitely not learning as much. Like, you know, I've been doing this for almost 8 years now. It feels like I'm a bit of a veteran in the yoga YouTube space. And sure, there's always opportunities to better yourself, to grow, to improve, to learn. But it kind of felt like I had done the bulk of it. And I think part of my burnout was that I needed to be challenged in a different way, and I needed to grow and learn about something else. You know, like I really needed, and for a long time, I even contemplated maybe I should go back to school. I was even thinking of maybe I should go get my master's in university, and I thought of that, but especially because it's like virtual learning in a lot of universities right now, I'm not interested in that one bit. So like I knew I needed to be challenged in some kind of way, but I wasn't sure what that would be, because I also wanted that challenge to be something that brought me joy. And that was just for fun. You know, I just wanted something for fun because it lights me up and it makes me feel good. So now I have Java, and it's overwhelming the amount I have to learn, you know, and I've been loving it. I've been absolutely loving it. And I'll be honest, in the last 6 weeks, since he's gotten here, I haven't worked nearly as much as I have in the past. And obviously, like, I'll have to get back in a more regular rhythm, but I'm finding a nice balance, you know? Like, what's the point of having worked so hard for the past 8 years and building something that is successful, that I'm super proud of? What's the point if I don't get to enjoy it, you know? Like, I just need balance. Like, I just needed to find harmony within my day-to-day life, you know, in order to feel really fulfilled and really happy. So that's kind of what I've been up to. That's where I've been. I was going to, maybe I'll do like a separate coffee chats to talk to you about what it's been like with Java, because that's been a huge ordeal as well. You know, like if there are any equestrians out there who are curious about like what my riding goals are, and I don't know what the process of getting a new horse and acclimating him to the barn has been like. Like, I have so much I could share about that journey, you know, because I'm really interested. Like, I'm really excited to not only learn how to become a better rider, because I'm terrible, but I'm also really interested in like groundwork, you know, like I feel like riding is just a very small part of the equation of horse ownership to me. Like, it's not really what I care about the most. I prefer just being on the ground with my horse, but I'm really interested in like horsemanship and liberty training and groundwork, equine health, horse massage, animal communication, like you name it. Like, I want to learn about all of those. And I'm really excited to kind of dive deep and immerse myself into something just because it's fun and it brings me joy and it's all mine, you know, like that's really what I've been needing the most. So if there are any equestrians out there who are interested in hearing about that journey, let me know. Maybe I'll do a coffee chat just for that, because I don't think it's going to appeal to most of my audience. Probably a small part of you are equestrians, but I'm sure those of you who are do care. So maybe I can do that as a separate video. But for now, I think this is where I'm going to end it. So if you've watched till the end, thank you very much. I'm sure this was super rambly, but yeah, it felt good to catch you up on what I've been up to. And I'll just remind again, so my new book, A Year of Yoga, is coming out in June. You can pre-purchase it, so pre-order it. And if you do pre-order it, as opposed to buy it when it actually comes out in stores, you'll get access to a free live full moon yoga practice with me. So that's kind of the incentive to pre-purchase. So I'll put the link to that down below in the description box. And yeah, oh, and for those of you who do want to follow me and my Java adventures, I did make him his own Instagram account. So I'll link that down below as well. And if there's anything that you guys would like me to talk about in other coffee chats, please leave it to me as a comment. Let me know. I'm always down to film some more of these. And yeah, don't worry. I hope I don't sound alarming in this video. I'm not going away or anything like that. Like, I still I still very much love yoga with Kassandra. I just needed to find something else also in my life to bring a bit of balance. But like, I'm not going anywhere. Like, I still love what I do. I still practice yoga every day. And I still want to film and publish classes here as well as inside my app. So don't worry, that's not changing. That's not going away anytime soon. I am only doing 1 video a week now. For a while I was doing 2, and that was just overwhelming to me. It was too much. So 1 video every Monday morning is when it comes out. I'm going to keep doing that for as long as I can. And I can't believe it. I think April 14th is the official anniversary date of my channel or something like that. I always think it's funny on that day to go back and watch my first videos. If you want to have a laugh, go to the oldest videos on my channel. They are horrible, but they're very humbling, and it is fun to see how far I've come and how much things have changed in those 8 years already. Like, it's crazy. I feel like I only started my channel, I don't know, 2 years ago. Like, it definitely doesn't feel like almost a decade. Yeah, it's so strange. It's so strange. But anyway, so don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. I'm just really trying to prioritize joy in my life and trying to find ways to fill my days and fill my life with things that aren't tied to my work, because I think work had become too big a part of my sense of self, my self-esteem, and how I thought of myself. It was unhealthy. It wasn't working out. And balance is now the way to go. Joy is the way to go. So, okay, thanks for watching till the end. Please subscribe, leave me a comment before you go, and I'll chat with you very soon.